Welcome everybody. Welcome back or welcome to another edition of Nain's Shorts. Still no shorts, not warm enough yet, but soon. And maybe never. But back at the basement of Physique Magnifique, a great place to train. If you happen to be in the area, if you just want to come on by and say hi to the Konversation guys, or play with the Bladed Mind guys, some are better than the others, but depending on what you're looking for. Stop on by. That's 387 Grand Avenue in South San Francisco. If you're local, come check out the facilities and see what we can offer you. Now, for those of you who may watch the show on a regular basis, thank you very much. For those of you who are new, just a little bit about myself. I practice I don't know if we can call it a martial arts system, because it isn't a complete or traditional martial art. It is called the Bladed Mind. Anywho, been doing it for going on 10 years almost in March. Holy crap. And the reason why it's not a traditional Filipino martial arts system is because we don't have a complete curriculum. It's very basic striking patterns and a couple of drills, all of which that we use for the process of learning, to understand how an individual processes information and then modifying, whether it's the language or even the lesson itself, so then that person gets the best of that lesson instead of having them to learn all this other stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just this is the way we were taught. We were taught to weaponize immediately, go straight to application, and what do we need to do to be able to accomplish that from the very beginning. So that's what I've trained for nearly 10 years. And that process of learning has really helped me in now doing a more traditional martial art, which is Kaju Kempo with GM Bob Gomez, the Gaylord lineage, I believe it is. And I'm experiencing something that I am still incredibly new to. So I have a lot of questions and a lot of ideas, probably misplaced ideas, about rankings. Belts, belting up, the ceremony, the sign, the document signed by grandmasters and head instructors and this and that. It's really cool. And it really makes me nostalgic of the way I used to think about martial arts from like the Hollywood perspective when I was younger and I didn't know anything about it. And keep in mind, folks, I started my martial arts journey at the age of 28. I'm 37 now. I'm going to be 38 this year. So yeah, there's a 10-year span. And there was a lot that I didn't really understand, and I approached it from a very almost comical approach to my training. But very quickly it was taken out of my head with the Bladed Mind. We don't have a ranking system. We didn't even call ourselves teachers or sifu or instructor. We just referred to each other as kuya. And that's just pretty much to anyone that's been doing it longer than anyone else. It just means older brother. Someone that knows a little bit more and you're learning from them. So that really was drilled into me to the point where the belt itself is not something I'm trying to accomplish. So every time that I've ranked up so far in Kaju Kempo, it's a bit of a shock to me, and I feel like a little almost embarrassed. Like, wait, really? Because in my head, I'm just training. In my head, I'm just learning. In my head, I'm trying to do better than I did the previous time, and that's it. But apparently, the Grandmaster Bob Gomez sees enough of my effort and what I'm doing and says, here you go. You've earned this. But again, that's not my focus. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish. I just want to learn. I just want to be there. And that is part of the process in many martial arts systems. Now, what are your thoughts on it? Because there are so many different mentalities behind it. You often hear some generational speak about when the dojos first came out, right? And how they had X amount of belts in the old traditional systems back in the day. It was like 4 or 5 different colors only. And I've heard stories of people wearing literally the same belt. I actually met a man who had a black belt, but because his white belt just got that dirty and dingy over years and years and years. Why can't I think of his name right now, Rick? Skip Hancock. Oh, that man's crazy. But really, really cool. But he was the first person I saw that emulated that idea. Because from what I understand, the belt systems and why they get darker as you go along is that concept being personified, well, by different colors nowadays. But back in the day, back in the old days, you literally just had the one belt. And it got dirty and it got dingy. And even in Kaju, they tell you don't wash your belt. And it's kind of gross. But I understand it. I get the reason behind it. And all my belts are still unwashed. And I have them neatly folded. And I have them stocked on my shelf. And as much as I'm looking forward to the growth, I don't know if I'm that excited about the belts themselves, but they do mean a lot. And because I'm now doing this traditional art, I get to understand a little bit more about why some people may get too big of a head because of the belt. It is a badge of honor, and it doesn't represent some sort of superiority over anyone else. Far from it. From what I understand, it represents the time and effort that you put into your art. Because here's the thing, folks, and for those of you who are instructors, you know this very well. You give a person a lesson, they do great in class, they're gone for a week or a weekend, they come back and they look like crap. They got it really good in class last time, but all of a sudden it's nowhere near where it was back then when you first gave them the lesson. Now, why is that? Anyone who's an instructor knows exactly what the answer to that question is. They didn't practice. They didn't go home and they didn't do anything physical with it. They didn't question it. They didn't break it apart. They didn't even drill it. They just kind of went to class and then came back and, well, it was gone. It wasn't as sharp as it was when it first got the lesson. And as an instructor, you're like, come on, guy. Come on. Do your job. Your job is to take this home and practice it and make it yours. You hear it all the time. You hear it at seminars. You hear it in class. But yet, how many of us actually do it? But then every once in a while, you get that student. They come back and they show you something new. It's still crap because, well, they have to refine it. But it means that they were doing something with their art. They were practicing, they were training. Maybe they come up with a question to say, oh, in this part here, in this transition, how do I get more power? How do I not lose power? How do I get the flexibility? How do I stay soft? They have something that goes along with the lesson that you previously gave them. And they're growing. They're questioning things. They're asking things. They want to know more. They want to understand. They don't want to just copy what you gave them. They actually want to be able to use it and apply it. And the instructors that are really good are the ones that are pushing for this, are the ones, and this is just my opinion, folks, so, you know, don't kill me. But this is how I've learned to see things. Because as I was taught in the Bladed Mind, it's the understanding that will propel you forward. If you can get it up here, then it can manifest here. That's the basis of everything that we teach and everything that I've learned in teaching. Because if the individual understands it personally, then they can apply it in their personal life, which is everything outside of the classroom. Here, there's a safe environment, you expect things, but self-protection, that happens out there. So in that, or rather in this conversation, I've really grown to appreciate and be humbled by the idea that somebody says, here, you've earned this. You've taken the time. I see the effort that you put into it. Because, folks, I do. I practice as often as I can. My gym workouts include my martial arts training as warm-ups or other practices. And then I do my weights and all the other stuff. So it's not like I just am good at it and I try it once and then all of a sudden I come back and it's great. No, I work at it. But to me, that's the least I could do as a student. To me, it's not that big of a deal. It's just what you're supposed to do. So there's that disconnect between, have I really earned that belt, or am I just doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And is that enough to earn the belt? Is it enough to say, okay, this is mine, this I earned it, I'm going to wear it proudly, and I do to represent the school, but ultimately, personally, it doesn't mean much to me other than I'm progressing. Because you have seen, and unfortunately, I've met a few people that wear their title with such pride. They walk around with their chest out and they tell you, call me this because that's what I am. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. I just met you. Like, seriously, just show some mutual respect, and then I would learn, oh shit, you're a GM. And I've met some of the coolest GMs and even great grandmasters who not once presented their title. Not once did they say, hey, this is me, this is my title, this is what you should call me. They said, hi, my name is this. And that was it. And it wasn't until weeks later that I found out, holy crap, that guy's the head of an entire organization. He's globally known. But he presented himself by his first name. That is a man deserving of respect. And that is the person that I will respect, and I'll even call him that title simply because I'm in awe with that person. And then that's what I want to work towards. And in the process of doing so, those belts come into play. And it's a part of it. And I accept that. I'm not going to reject it. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, because it isn't. In the right light, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing and a way to gauge where you really are as a practitioner. But of course, not everybody feels that way. And oftentimes you hear stories of people like, yeah, they got their black belt and then they did nothing with the art. They just stopped. Like, you earned a degree, and that's it. Like, you go to college for 4 years, you get your degree, and then you get a job at an auto body shop. It has nothing to do with your degree whatsoever. It's just there on the wall to say you didn't waste those thousands and thousands of dollars. You actually got a piece of paper for it. And then you hear other stories where people will work their ass off. I mean, I've heard stories of people taking an entire, what did you say? I think it was like almost 18 years to get their black belt in a specific system. And not because they weren't good enough or not because they didn't have the talent, but because life got in the way. You know, a divorce here, a child here, marriage, vacationing, work changing, so many things. But this person came back every single time and worked his ass off from scratch, at times having to start from the very beginning because he loved the art so much. So to him, that black belt means the world to him. But in that conversation, I realized that it isn't really the belt that is significant, but it's what the belt represents. It's his journey. It's the time and effort that he spent. It's all the things that he had to give up or maybe stop training altogether just so he can deal with his life and still come back to it. The belt can mean so many different things for so many people. And again, in the right light, it means a whole lot. I know it does to me, in the sense of respect to the traditional martial arts, but half the time I forget that what rank I am. Because it's not about the rank that I represent, it's about the effort I put into it. It's about the art. It's about the practice. At least that is what it is for me. If people are out there working their ass off because they want that belt, they want that title, they want to reach that height, hey, more power to you. I'm not saying that's wrong in any simple way. It's just not the way I look at it. And I wonder how many of you have experiences where, yeah, maybe you left the school because of the way that they ranked up. Maybe you no longer feel as excited about your art because of the way that the ranking system works. Or maybe you remember in a time where it was only a certain amount of belts and now there's 3 times as many. There's a lot of history that comes with the idea of the belt and what it represents and what it means to each person. And a lot of it starts with the instructor and the way that they present themselves and the way that they represent the art and the way they go about it. Sure, in an organization that's huge, there is red tape that you have to follow. I mean, there's no getting out of it. Once an organization reaches a certain size, you have to have rules and other guidelines in place to keep everything organized, to make sure that everyone has a fair shot and everyone is representative of the art. Right? I get that. For me, again, I didn't come up in that. I came up in a grassroots kind of art that was created by Rick's older brother, Danny. Then Danny taught it to him, he taught it to me, and here we are. That's the lineage, literally. Everyone that created the art is still alive. And one of them lives in Vallejo. That's my lineage, that's my true Filipino lineage of FMA. But will one day the Bladed Mind grow into a large organization where we'll have to have something like this? I don't know. Am I trying to do that? No, not really. That just sounds like a pain in the ass. I just want to train and I want to pass it on. And if, in order for me to do that, I have to create an organization that will last years to come after I pass, then that's what I have to do. That's just par for the course. But I don't know if that's something I got to right now. But nevertheless, it is something to consider because I do want to continue teaching. Because for me, teaching is a way to continue learning. And really, that's what drives me. I want to keep learning. I want to keep growing. I want to keep expanding. Be respectful of all those that came before me. Be respectful of the system and the way that they handle their ranking systems and their belts and everything. But ultimately, what I'm doing it for me. So whether I get a title or not, that's besides the point. I'm just going to keep on training and keep on practicing. Now, before I go, because I always F this up every single time, and Rick is of no help to me whatsoever, I'm actually going to look shit up right now. Alright, so now we have some actual dates. So coming up in March 11th, that's Saturday, March 11th, at the VEA Martial Arts Academy in Manteca. It is the Riyamas Chifi Kempo Serrata Eskrima. There will be 4 Grandmasters there. Now, Mike Cardenas is the head of the VEA Martial Arts Collaborative, and he always puts on a great show. He's a great organizer, and he's really good on the grill, so I don't know if you guys get invited afterwards. But show up. It's a great time. It's a great place to be. They always have wonderful raffles. They always have a lot of cool stuff that you can win. And amazing food. Now, I don't know the food situation on this one, but I will tell you that you will be training with Grandmaster Frank Riyamas, Senior Grandmaster Ron Pierce, Grandmaster Pat Griffith, and Grandmaster Rick Davenport. Okay? Actually, dude, we should totally interview all 4 of these, which we might. So we'll probably be there too. So remember, that's March 11th. It's a Saturday. It's a VEA Martial Arts Academy. It's in collaboration with them. And just check them out on Facebook at the VEA Martial Arts. And also Mike Cardenas. He'll probably have information if you want to talk to him directly. But check that out. And another one, our good friend, Harry Green. He too is a Grandmaster, but he told us he'd stab us if we kept calling him Grandmaster. So he said just call him Harry. I don't know about you, but I'm scared of him, so I'm just going to call him Harry Green from now on. Every once in a while I'll say sir, but he even tells me to stop doing that. And, well, you listen to a man who survived Vietnam and still teaches people how to knife fight. Anyways, one-on-one FMA workshop. This one will be in April 15th at Wolf's Den Martial Arts Academy. That is in Carson City, Nevada. Check it out. And, yeah, our good friend John Atkinson. Well, that's his shop. So he has his wares there as well. Stuff like this. This is a Wolf's Den Armory original, which I love the balance of this, and it's a great whacking stick if any of the students get out of line. Hurts like hell. But he has a lot of other cool stuff there to sell as well. But either way, that's the information. Again, this one's April 15th, one-on-one FMA workshop. So keep an eye out for that. Check them out on Facebook. And yeah, hopefully we see you there. So finally we get the dates right because, well, we suck at remembering things. It took me 9 years to get the address for this place. Seriously. Once I walk somewhere or drive somewhere, I stop caring about the street names or even the address. I just know how to get there. But obviously, for information purposes, you should know. Thank you very much for joining me on another one of Nain's Shorts. Till the next one, as usual, 3, 2, 1, cut!